Conversation with I heard Snoop called you before the game. Just
I called him.
Okay. But just
I think I don't know. I gotta check my phone, but I think I had like a missed call from him, and then or a text something. I don't know. Then I just called my Ugo like 6:30. Called him. I'm like, dang, bro, why are you still up? And he was like, bro, I'm excited, bro. He was excited they just got the win, and he was definitely words of encouragement and stuff from me. But that's just how he is. Like he not just doing that just because it gives them a chance. Now I think the overall person he is and the time that we have spent together, he did nothing but speak life into me, and I truly appreciate him for that.
I want to know, did Shedeur secure the job for 2026? I want to hear more from Shedeur, because if you're going to secure the job, it's not just about some of the advanced metrics and the advanced numbers. You got to be able to lead. And is this going to be enough time to establish leadership? He talks about the winning culture Shedeur does in that locker room.
In the building and everything, we've been pretty consistent with what we've been doing. The only difference is now we got the result we were supposed to get, So I don't think the difference between a win and loss is a couple of plays. It wasn't about how you're going about your business, how you're doing everything. Everybody's going about their business the same way. Everybody's extremely locked in, extremely focused on what they got to do. But today we just got the result we was looking for.
6:30 in the morning. The Cleveland sky still dark, the weight of expectation pressing down like a physical force. Shedeur Sanders picks up his phone. He doesn't think twice. He dials Snoop Dogg. Most people are still asleep. Most people aren't about to play in one of the biggest games of their rookie season. Most people don't have a legend waiting on the other end of the line. Snoop answers. He's already awake, already buzzing with...
So how did it feel, Shedeur, to get the win against, a rival team that was trying to clinch a playoff spot?
It felt good. It felt good getting the win overall, and especially the team we won against. I think it's bittersweet because I feel like offense, we got to do our part. I got to do my part, a little bit more. We can't be happy with only 10 points. 13? Yeah, 13 points on the board. So, we just got to be able to put up more points.
Energy from his own team's victory the night before. And what happens next in that conversation would set the tone for everything that was about to unfold at Cleveland Browns Stadium. This is the story of Shedeur Sanders' first home victory, a game that wasn't just about points on a scoreboard. A game that revealed the man behind the hype, the pressure behind the swagger, and the raw emotion that comes with finally proving you belong. The Pittsburgh Steelers came to Cleveland with playoff implications on the line. They left with a loss that stung worse than the winter cold, and Shedeur Sanders, he walked off that field a different quarterback than the one who walked on. But this victory came with a...
But Shedeur's got to play well enough and has shown enough to be like, all right, he can be my guy for 2026 and dare compete for it, because you're still looking at a veteran somewhere. You got Deshaun still in the quarterback room, where Mary Kay has been adamant they are not moving on from him just yet. You have Shedeur. I don't know what you're going to do with Dylan Gabriel. I have no idea about that. So I'm just going to put him up there, and if he gathers dust, and we'll talk about him at another point.
Well, it came with lessons, and it came with a brutally honest admission that most rookie quarterbacks would never make. Let's break down everything that happened. Before we dive into the game itself, you need to understand what led to this moment, because context is everything. And Shedeur Sanders didn't just appear on this field out of thin air. From the moment the Cleveland Browns selected him, the questions started. Could Coach Prime's son handle the NFL spotlight? Was he really that good, or was the hype manufactured by social media and a famous last name? Would he crumble under the weight of being the most talked-about rookie in the league? The early weeks of the season didn't provide clean answers.
To get that win, though, your first win here at home, how cool is that in front of your fans?
Yeah, it's extremely exciting to get the win at home for sure. I've been needing to win at home for a minute, so so that's what's good. That's what I'm excited for. That we brought that feeling back in this place.
Flashes of brilliance mixed with the expected growing pains. The home game against the Baltimore Ravens still lingered in his mind. He knew he hadn't played his best that day. He knew the critics were watching, waiting for him to fail. And then there was the matter of playing without his college security blanket. Travis Hunter wasn't walking through that door. The two-way superstar who made impossible catches look routine, who Shedeur could trust with any throw.
Shedeur played his best game if you remove the stats. He played his best game. Here's the problem. Objectively speaking, and I've already watched all of Shedeur's game. I've posted it on our YouTube channel. Y'all can check it out. Just type in Shedeur Sanders and Speakeasy.
It's up right now.
It's literally up. Yep. Check it out after the show. Here's the problem with Shedeur. he keeps making the same mistake. And this mistake is the casual, I wasn't thinking interception. There are some interceptions that are, what were you thinking? But Shedeur makes the, I wasn't thinking interception. Chicago Bears, Chauncey Gardner, cover 3. I wasn't thinking interception.
In any coverage was now a Denver Bronco. That reality hit harder than any defensive scheme. So when Shedeur woke up on game day against the Steelers, all of these thoughts were swimming in his head. The doubt, the pressure, the need to prove something to everyone, but mostly to himself. That's when he made the call. The relationship between Shedeur Sanders and Snoop Dogg isn't some celebrity photo opportunity. It runs deeper than that, way deeper. When Shedeur explained the phone call after the game, his voice carried genuine warmth. He had seen a missed call or a text from Snoop earlier. He didn't hesitate. At 6:30 in the morning, he picked up the phone and dialed. Snoop was already awake, already energized. His team had just won, and that victory had him in the perfect mood to pour encouragement into a young quarterback who needed it. But here's the thing that makes this relationship special. According to Shedeur, this isn't something Snoop does just for cameras or publicity. This is who he is. The time they've spent together, the conversations they've shared, it's all been about speaking life into each other. Snoop told him to be ready. Simple words, but sometimes simple words from the right person at the right moment can move mountains. And Shedeur was ready to take on a Steelers defense that had been ferocious all season, ready to silence the doubters, ready to give Cleveland something to believe in. When he arrived at the stadium, the energy was different. You could see it in the way he carried himself. The jewelry was on. The confidence was radiating. He looked at the cameras and declared that they had that shallow on them today. It was time to turn up. The Browns were about to shock the AFC North. The Pittsburgh Steelers came into this game fighting for their postseason lives. Every game mattered. Every win was crucial. And a division road game against a struggling Cleveland team should have been a get-right game. Should have been. The AFC North rivalry runs through generations. The hatred is real. The hits are harder. The stakes feel higher even when they technically aren't. This isn't just football. This is personal. The Steelers brought their full arsenal of defensive adjustments and veteran savvy. Their coaches had studied every snap of Shedeur's young career. They knew his tendencies. They knew his preferences. They thought they knew how to stop him. For the first 2 drives, they were wrong. Shedeur came out firing. The ball was zipping. The reads were crisp. The confidence from that morning phone call was translating directly onto the field. Cleveland moved down the field with purpose, and the home crowd was coming alive in ways they hadn't all season.
Yourself advice from that first time you walked on the field to where you are. It's kind of like what she is, but if you could give yourself a message today for the first time you walked on the field, what would you say? What did you need to know?
I would say definitely know you supposed to be out there dominating. I think what you kind of got to understand also, like sitting and everything like that and just watching, like it's a mental thing. So it's like, dang, you start questioning a lot of things, you know? And then sometimes you gotta, like me, like before the game and stuff, I gotta like have a lot of like built up anger like within myself, because like that's why I gotta play with that fire, with that different emotion within me, you know. And I think when you go out there the first time, I think it's more of like, dang, like this dude over there, like they cool. But then, like, when you actually out there, you're like, I don't care who it is. I'm trying to dominate them.
This was the Shedeur Sanders they had been promised. But good teams adjust. Great coaching staffs find weaknesses. And somewhere around the 3rd and 4th drives, Pittsburgh started throwing different looks. The rhythm that had been so smooth suddenly got choppy. The windows that had been open started closing faster. Shedeur would later admit he wasn't entirely sure what changed. He praised the Steelers' players and coaches. He acknowledged that success breeds adjustment, and when you're having your way with a defense, they're going to find answers. The film would reveal more, but in the moment, the game became a grind. The touchdown that gave Cleveland life came from Harold Bannon. Perfectly placed ball, a contested catch, and suddenly the scoreboard showed what the Browns desperately needed. Points, but football is cruel. The same play that brought joy brought pain. Bannon went down with a groin injury. The team knew going in that he was already banged up. The injury wasn't a complete shock, but watching one of your weapons hobble off the field after making the play of the game, that tests a team's resolve. This is where the next man up mentality becomes real. It's not just a phrase coaches use for press conferences. It's survival. The Browns needed someone to step in, and they found it in players who had been waiting for their moment. But the offense still struggled to find consistency. Drives stalled. Points remained elusive. And on the sideline, a conversation was happening that would reveal everything about Shedeur's adjustment to the NFL. A camera caught it.
You know, I got my other brother right here, too.
Oh, yeah?
Junior, stand up. Yeah. He does all our social media, so all the stuff you've been seeing, that's him.
100 mil, I need it. The glory, I need it. I took L's but walked around like I was undefeated. I saw no results, I still woke up and chased it.
Coaches talking directly to the rookie quarterback. The message was clear and it was blunt. Shedeur was told that he couldn't just throw the ball up in one-on-one coverage and expect magic to happen. Not anymore. Not without Travis Hunter on the other end. Think about what that means for a quarterback who had spent years playing with perhaps the most talented receiver in college football history. The connection between Shedeur and Travis wasn't just chemistry. It was telepathy. Jump balls became touchdowns. Contested catches became routine. Shedeur could take risks that would be insane for anyone else because Travis Hunter made the insane look ordinary. Now, different reality. The coaches weren't being harsh. They were being honest. Everyone has different skill sets. The receivers in Cleveland are talented, but they're not Travis Hunter. Nobody is. And Shedeur had to recalibrate his entire approach to the position based on that reality. What makes this moment remarkable is how Shedeur handled it. He didn't pout. He didn't argue. He acknowledged the truth. He knew in his heart that he saw one-on-one coverage and his instinct screamed to throw it up and let his guy make a play. That instinct had been rewarded for years, but the NFL demands evolution. And evolution sometimes means killing habits that used to work. While the offense struggled to find its rhythm, the Cleveland defense was doing what Cleveland defenses do. They were suffocating Pittsburgh's attack, creating pressure, forcing mistakes, and keeping the game within reach. When Shedeur talked about the defense after the game, there was genuine appreciation in his voice. He said it plainly. That's how the Browns' defense usually is. That's how they usually are. This wasn't a surprise performance from the defensive unit. This was confirmation of their identity. While the offense was still finding itself with a rookie quarterback, the defense provided the stability the team needed. The game became a war of attrition, low scoring, physical, every yard earned through effort and will. The Steelers couldn't break through. The Browns couldn't pull away. And as the fourth quarter approached, the margin between victory and defeat became razor thin. This is where championship teams are made, in the moments when nothing comes easy and everything hurts. When the final whistle blew, the Cleveland Browns had won, 13-10, an ugly game by some standards, a beautiful game by the standards of anyone who understands what divisional rivalry football actually looks like. Shedeur Sanders had done it, his first home victory as an NFL quarterback, against a division rival, against a team fighting for their playoff lives, in a stadium that had been waiting for something to celebrate. But when he stepped to the podium, he didn't celebrate the way you might expect. His words were measured, thoughtful, and brutally honest. He called it bittersweet, said the offense had to do more, that he personally had to do more. 13 points wasn't enough, couldn't be enough. The standard had to be higher than simply getting a win. How many rookie quarterbacks would stand at a podium after their first home victory and immediately demand more from themselves? How many would acknowledge the shortcomings before even enjoying the achievement? This is what separates Shedeur Sanders from the typical rookie, the self-awareness, the refusal to accept mediocrity, the understanding that this victory was a step, not a destination. The growth since the Baltimore game was evident to anyone paying attention. Shedeur spoke about how the game had slowed down for him, how he was seeing the field better, how his understanding of NFL defenses was deepening with every snap. But he also admitted something that showed his competitive fire hadn't dimmed at all. He said he just likes throwing the ball, loves it actually, and sometimes that love leads to decisions that coaches would rather he didn't make. He talked about calculated risks, about believing that his players are better than the defenders covering them, about wanting to give his guys chances to make plays. This is the tightrope every great quarterback walks, the line between aggressive and reckless, between confident and careless. Shedeur is still learning where that line exists in the NFL, but at least he's aware it's there. The film study would continue, the adjustments would come, but the foundation was being built, one game at a time, one lesson at a time, one honest self-assessment at a time. In the locker room, the veterans were speaking a different language than you might expect. Players who understood their team's record weren't worried about draft positioning or tanking for better picks. They were focused on something more important, culture. Several players made it clear that these games mattered for reasons beyond the standings. This was about establishing what the Cleveland Browns would become, about showing the young core how professional football players handle adversity, about building a foundation that future teams could stand on. When asked about this, Shedeur's response was telling. He said the only difference between this game and others wasn't the effort or the focus or the preparation. Everyone had been doing those things the same way all season. The difference was simply the result. A win and a loss are sometimes separated by just a few plays. The margin is smaller than casual fans realize. What matters is how you respond when those plays don't go your way, and how you build when they finally do. Shedeur called the team the cornerstone of something new, and listening to him, you believed it. The brotherhood forming in Cleveland might be the most unexpected story of this season. A group of players who have been through their own individual struggles, finding each other in a shared mission. Shedeur talked about veterans who had faced their own dark moments, about conversations that went beyond football into faith and purpose and meaning, about players banding together through circumstances they couldn't control and emerging stronger for it. This is the intangible element that statistics can't measure, the connection between men who go to battle together. The trust that develops when you see someone fight through their own demons and come out the other side. One player in particular had been through a rough stretch earlier in the season. Shedeur described having a conversation with him during that difficult time. Since then, everything had been trending upward, and when Shedeur looks at that player now, all he feels is happiness that his teammate found his way through. These relationships will outlast any single season. They become the fabric of a franchise identity. After the formal press conference, Shedeur did something that revealed his personality better than any prepared answer could. A fan had given him a carpet before the game. A big one, a random gift from someone who just wanted to show appreciation, and Shedeur's reaction was pure joy. He made sure the carpet made it back to his house. He mentioned that he really loves gifts. Then, in a moment of vulnerability that caught everyone off guard, he made a request. He asked fans to send him things. Clothes, jewelry, bags, because all of his bags had been stolen when his house was broken into. Wait, what? This detail slipped out casually, almost as an afterthought, but it humanized Shedeur in a way that no touchdown pass could. Here's a first-round NFL quarterback, son of a legend, and someone broke into his home and stole his belongings. It happens to him too. The celebrity doesn't provide protection. He even posted his P.O. box online, inviting fans to send gifts if they wanted. It was genuine, it was unexpected, and it created a connection with supporters that went beyond the game itself. Walking off the field, Shedeur took time to sign jerseys and interact with fans. Despite the exhaustion of a physical divisional game, he stopped. He engaged. He showed appreciation for the people who had been there through a difficult season. One fan wearing a Steelers shirt tried to get his attention. Shedeur's response was perfect, playful, competitive, absolutely appropriate given what had just happened. These moments matter. The small interactions that players often skip build loyalty that lasts decades. Fans remember when their favorite player took 30 seconds to make them feel seen. They tell their children about it. They stay fans for life. Shedeur seems to understand this instinctively. The relationship between player and city isn't just about winning games. It's about building something together. Looking at the bigger picture, this first home win signals something important for Shedeur's trajectory. The NFL is filled with talented quarterbacks who never quite figured it out, who had the arm strength and the athleticism but couldn't make the mental jump, who crumbled under pressure instead of rising to it. Shedeur Sanders is showing every sign of figuring it out. The honesty in his self-assessment indicates a player who will continue to improve. The emotional intelligence in how he handles the media suggests maturity beyond his years. The willingness to accept coaching on the sideline about his tendencies shows a learner's mentality. And that phone call to Snoop Dogg at 6:30 in the morning, that shows a young man who understands the importance of surrounding himself with people who speak life into him during crucial moments. The AFC North is now on notice. This Cleveland team isn't going to be an easy out, not anymore. Not with a quarterback who carries himself like this. If Shedeur could deliver a message to the version of himself who walked onto an NFL field for the first time, he said he would remind himself that he was supposed to be out there dominating. The doubt that crept in while he waited for his opportunity was natural, human. Watching from the sideline makes you question yourself, makes you wonder if you truly belong. But now that he's playing, now that he's feeling the speed of the game and adjusting in real time, the confidence is returning. He talked about needing to play with fire, with a different emotion burning inside him, about channeling built-up anger into performance rather than letting it become a weight that drags him down. When you're actually on the field competing, the respect for opponents transforms into something different. It becomes a desire to dominate regardless of who's across from you. It becomes a refusal to accept anything less than your best. Shedeur Sanders is finding that gear. The NFL better be ready for what comes next. This was just one game, one win, one step on a journey that will span years and include both triumphs and setbacks that we can't yet imagine. But some games matter more than others. Some victories create momentum that carries forward. Some moments crystallize an identity that was still forming. For Shedeur Sanders and the Cleveland Browns, this was one of those moments. A rookie quarterback who answered every question with honesty instead of cliches. A team that refused to accept losing as inevitable. A fanbase that finally had something to celebrate at home. The Steelers left Cleveland with a loss that damages their playoff hopes. They came into enemy territory expecting to handle their business and instead ran into a defense that wouldn't break and a quarterback who wouldn't blink. Next week brings another challenge, another opportunity, another test of whether this win was a fluke or the beginning of something real. Based on everything we saw, based on everything Shedeur Sanders said and did, this is just the beginning. The cornerstone has been laid. Now watch them build. This story continues to develop. More details will emerge as the season progresses. Subscribe for updates on Shedeur Sanders, the Cleveland Browns, and everything happening in the NFL this season.